Alright YouTube, I'm Jerry, it's Egypt.
Welcome to day 2 of our Egypt honeymoon. We're currently waiting for our driver Ahmed to pick us up for our drive down to the Faiyum. Cheeky shot of the pyramids there. It's always nice to see them when you go out travelling. He actually stopped on the motorway so we could get this shot. So the Faiyum is roughly a 2.5 hour drive from our hotel across the desert. And this cemetery here is absolutely insane. It's 300 acres and some of the burials go back to 1 AD. So the Faiyum is the home of Sobek, which is their god of crocodiles. They do a lot of crops here just because the weather and the water supply is just about right for them to grow everything that they need. So they grow cotton, wheat, maize, broad beans, tomatoes, melons, rice, fruits, so figs, grapes and olives as well. So here you can see Karun Lake. This was one of our stops on the way there, so we could just get a drink. So the people who live in the Faiyum may look like they don't have much, but because of all the land that they have and all of the properties that they have and all of the farmland, they're actually quite well off people, even though they might not look it. They're sort of the kind of people that live within their means quite a lot. It's a really beautiful environment to drive through compared to the rest of Egypt's just desert landscape. There are a lot of really big houses around here, which is quite nice, and a lot of them look like they're under construction, so they're constantly getting bigger. Some more of that lake again. It was absolutely massive. This whale was really cool to drive past. It's just a nice little structure to let you know that you're actually on the way to that graveyard of the whales in the White Desert. And here we go, here's Wadi El Rayyan, the national park. So this is where the White Desert is. And you have the whale graveyard in here. So it's a really lovely straight road. And then we've got another oasis here, which was really close to the camp that we were going to. Here we go, another little bit of desert on the way to the White Desert camp. You've got some of these traditional buildings here. People can actually camp in these if you want to. We weren't staying, we were just doing a day trip here, but people do stay here. This is some traditional Bedouin tea being poured in the traditional way. As you can see, really peaceful here. We were basically the only people here when we came, so that was quite nice. Off we go. This is our 4x4 trip. We were doing a 45-minute off-road 4x4 experience into the desert to get to the Whale Fossil Museum. Driving across the sand dunes. Some of it could be quite scary if you're that way inclined, but I really enjoyed it. Keep in mind as well, This particular 4x4 that we were in, even though we were doing stunts like this, I didn't have a working seatbelt and the driver didn't have a working speedo or rev counter, so he just kind of knew his vehicle in and out, which was awesome. Lots of really rugged sand dunes around here to just play around on. So as you can see, the White Desert is fairly barren. This actually used to be under the sea many millions of years ago. So human habitation of the White Desert goes back 900,000 years, and it actually used to be a massive inland sea 250 to 35 million years ago. It's mainly limestone, shale and sandstone. So that was the 4x4 that we were driving in. And then our guide, Mohammed, who was really good, he found these stones for us. So these in particular, they have little rings on them, and each ring means 1,000,000 years for formation. Off we go, back in the 4x4, on the way to the museum. Bit of flat ground there on an actual road that seems to have been made, but our driver particularly liked to stay off the normal roads. As you can see, there were just these outcrops of big stone formations just in the distance. So imagine all of this used to be under the sea. Absolutely incredible. Back on a road again. Not for long though. Off-road again. Just another little break, just to admire the landscape. I'm not entirely sure why all the rocks are around this one, but it must have some meaning to the locals. And here we are approaching the Fossil Museum. Some traditional huts and buildings kicking around here, which is quite cool. Adds to the whole feel of the place. And welcome to the Fossil Museum. So these two were the most complete whale skeletons they actually found in the desert. The importance of these particular skeletons is they were the ones that show that whales have leg bones, so it kind of ties into the evolution of the whales. There's crocodile bones there. They found all sorts. They found 379 fossils of lots of different species here so far. Like the first fossils were discovered in 1902. This became a protected site in 1997 and then became a World Heritage Site in 2005. And you've got the skeletons of these fossils just dotted all around, all over the place, just like this one here. They often get left exactly where they get found, just so people can come and have a look at them. obviously the pathway is sort of marked out by all of these rocks that are on the side. And then you can follow that round. It does go for miles if you want to, but it depends on how hot it is. If it's particularly hot, most people don't want to walk the whole way. Back in the car again. When you're driving around through the desert, you do see odd spots of plantations and different trees and all kinds of plants where people still do farming in the middle of the desert because you still do have water underneath the ground. This is where some of the trip got a bit crazy. You see that cliff in front of us? Yeah, we had to go up that. So this is the oasis and a lake just in the middle of the desert, which is crazy to see. Bit of an angle there driving upwards, just so we can get a really nice view of the lake. This is where our driver joked about driving off the cliff, and you can see exactly how close we were to the edge. Yeah, pretty close. It's really peaceful up here. You could get some really nice views of all of the lake, all of the oasis, all of the scenery. It was absolutely amazing. I would definitely advise coming to and doing this activity if you come to Egypt. It's a once in a lifetime experience to just drive through the desert and see all of these sights. You can just see for miles on the top of this cliff. Back in the car, and what goes up must come down again. So we went down this bank to get a little bit close to one of the lakes that was nearby. This was really steep. Real good fun though. Time to get out again, have another look at this lake. As you can see, this water is crystal clear. It's really, really nice. Most people wouldn't expect to see lakes like this in the middle of the desert. I even spotted some fish. There you go. Cute little fish swimming around. There I am, near the peaceful lake. Right, back up. can see, pretty steep. One hell of an experience though, I definitely recommend it. If you don't mind being thrown around in a 4x4, this is the experience for you, for sure. As you can see, some more oases in the distance there, but we're not going that way. We're going this way where the steep bits are. Yep, we just went down that. So back on an actual road again through the desert, and then off the road again on the way to our final destination on this trip. Again, you're about to see something that you might not necessarily expect for in the desert. This is Wadi El Rayyan Falls. There are some shops here, there's a restaurant here, so you can get some food, you can get some drink, you can buy some souvenirs if you want to, and we've got some waterfalls in the middle of the desert. This is where all of the lakes sort of feed their water through, and then it all ends up here. Really pretty environment to just chill out after all of that 4x4. And I found some more fish. Only little, but they're there. Real nice views. You could stay here all day if you wanted to, but we did have to get back because it was a 2.5 hour drive back home again. So here we are back at the camp. As you can see, really peaceful. We had lunch there before we left, and now we're on our journey back home again, and as you can see, it's just desert, so there's not much to see on the way back. Ever so often you do see some little villages full of traditional buildings like this one. And this is the end of day 2. Thank you for joining me on this one. But remember to come back because there will be more, because I've got so much more footage of our Egypt trip. Thanks for watching.